Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Go Forward Show. We're here in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee at NRB, and we've got another great set of authors for you guys today. We have Bob and Vicki, who are the authors of See the People, Achieving a Better World, One Life at a Time. Thanks so much for coming on, guys.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Please. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what was the burning desire in you guys that helped you formulate this idea and want to get this book out into the world.
Well, the Lord kept dealing with me about writing a book, and I gave him every excuse in the world of why I shouldn't have written the book. And so, you know how that goes. You eventually lose the argument somewhere along the line. And so I thought, okay, no, but it's not going to do any good, but whatever, you know, so you just kind of get into it and do it. And really what it was really about was I was able in business to travel to a lot of different countries in the world. And Christian is not a known name in many of those countries like Saudi Arabia
of course.
and Bahrain and Japan and all these other places.
In this day and age, we have more Christian persecution in the world.
So when I was looking at this, it was like, what he kept telling me was, well, you're the only one that's actually really knows about those particular areas and how to minister to them, and just get beyond just thinking, all right, everybody here in the United States, and there's a lot of people from all over the world that need to come into the saving knowledge of the Lord. So that's the burning desire of the whole book. And as we were writing this, we saw, well, we do a lot of prayer things in church, and we find that people really don't know what the will of the Lord is when they're looking. And so we really got into steps of how do you bring somebody to the Lord all the way from binding the enemy off of their minds to loosening all these different steps and with scriptures. And then before that, I just gave, here's what it was like in Saudi Arabia, here's what it was like in Japan, here's what it was like that. And so that was really the thrust of the book, is me traveling around in different places and seeing all kinds of things. Some I could print, and some I couldn't print. So it was like, but you know, it's really about expanding our horizons beyond what we're seeing and winning as many people as we can to the Lord as possible.
Yeah, I love that, and I think it's good context. Is there's a lot. The world is flatter than ever. I've just started traveling internationally for business for the first time this last year. Dealing with jet lag is a whole other story. But and what's interesting for me is I've definitely found myself kind of, travel changes you, even if it's just business travel, like going to the Philippines for 8 days, seeing the history of how much the Filipinos are like, American friendly because we liberated them from the Japanese, but then they also have the story of Spanish colonialism, and then they've got these Catholic roots, and then this huge, Muslim. Then there's the Islamists that are, the Western hotels are guarded with machine guns and dogs. It's just like you see so much, and you want to. You want to try and understand and make relationships to people as you travel, and I think it definitely opens up to an interesting idea. So maybe pass it to Vicki, and let's say, when did this become your idea to something that you guys were going to write together? Was that from the beginning, or was that an evolution?
Well, that was sort of Bob. He had the idea.
Let's go.
He was sitting in his backyard one that fall afternoon, and the Lord said, see the people. He said, I love all of them.
I love that.
I love the world. One person at a time. See the people in every area, everywhere you go. Your next door neighbor, the nations. The Bible says to ask of me, and I will give you the nations as your inheritance, and to the uttermost parts of the earth. And so we can pray for nations and believe God for their salvations. I mean, in Iran alone, they're seeing visions and dreams of Jesus Christ. All the same vision, all these people, because there's no one there to witness to them, because it's not allowed. You'll be killed. Yeah. And so, God has ways, but He can't do anything unless we first pray and ask Him.
It seems like in the darkest places are where revival breaks out the most fervent.
Yeah, it's one of the gross Christian nations now, Iran.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. Over 4,000 mosques have closed down there. Unbelievable.
That is
People
crazy.
are done. they're done.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, had you written a book before?
No.
Nice. Very cool.
No.
And then had you been to NRB before?
No, we haven't.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. One of the things that is a big theme of NRB is the topic of AI.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that AI is making it easier for people to write books now, either with the content itself or with the marketing of the content, all of the organizational tasks and the things besides sitting down and letting the word flow from your brain to the computer and then into paperback. I'm curious, as first-time authors, did you guys use AI at all, or were you guys 100% old school, or did you guys, and what are your thoughts around AI as you kind of come out into the world and start putting some of your ideas on paper?
We did old school on this with all
Nice.
the research and things like that. I mean, I did try to do some AI applications, and it was just, they would word it in such a way I go, I don't like it.
You don't like it? Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean they won't get there,
Yeah.
you know.
Took the humanity out
Yeah,
of it for
it's
you.
like, it did, so it was just started too sterile. And so when you're talking about other religions, I mean, you're really subject to the programmer that's actually programming that on the other side. And they may be Hindu or Islamic or whatever.
Yeah,
You don't
there's
know.
bias.
There's bias
Yeah.
there. So all of a sudden you start getting that. But yeah, I mean, it does make it easier to sit down and write a book, but you really got to be in control of the content and exactly what it's saying. So somewhere along the line, you got to read it, say, all right, I either approve of this or I don't approve of this. And then if you don't approve of this, then you just rewrite it.
Yeah.
So it has applications, but yeah, on this one, we just went old school and just did it by hand and said, okay. But yeah. So,
I love that. And on the publishing side, self-published, or did you publish with a publisher?
we went with a publisher, Higher Life Publishing.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so we felt like we did some research, and they said, really, if you go self-publish, it's difficult to get noticed.
Yeah.
So, not that we're trying to do anything here, but we're trying to win people to the Lord.
Sure.
So that's,
Yeah, you want to have an impact. You don't want your efforts
you
to
don't want to have
wasted.
something sitting out there on the bookshelf. So,
Yeah, 100%. So another big theme of NRB is that, 82% of television shows and movies are still adapted from books, if you can believe it or not. Books are still very important to the creative process.
And there's so many good ones out
Yeah, so many good ones. It's the place where ideas are started generally. I'm curious, Vicki, do you guys think this is the end of a journey or the beginning of a journey? Does this launch out into a TV show, a movie, a podcast, a lecture series? Is this the beginning of your journey or the end?
Well, we were thinking about doing a home group with our
like
book,
kind of like a Bible study,
like a Bible study for groups in
application.
church.
Yep.
How to pray, how to disciple, how to mentor, and that's what we're thinking about doing next
Nice.
with the book.
That's great.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. But there again, books are wonderful. There are so many marvelous books out there that you can make a fantastic movie out of. But they, I don't know what they do. I mean, I said, why do they make these dumb movies when there's so many good books out there? Like, like Wizard of Oz. That was from a book. I mean, everybody has seen that.
Right.
You know?
Like with Wicked,
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah.
Kind of the remakes.
Well, I haven't. Yeah, Wicked was all right, but
Totally. So, what would be your advice on people who are coming across folks of other religions, either from world travel or business or even in their own communities? What do you think is the easiest way to try to witness to someone who is of another faith without, offending them, and a way to get through to them with an open mind to try? How do you plant the first seed when you're trying to witness to somebody who is of another faith?
Well, most of the countries I went to, it was illegal to even talk to them about another faith. They'd have killed you on sight.
That's crazy.
So I always had to be aware of that. Saudi Arabia was particularly bad about that, and they haven't changed on that note at all.
Interesting.
So the best thing, is you you have to really find some area, ask them just what's going on in their life. And see if they are able to tell you something that is they're hurting, or something they're not getting answers from Allah from, or whoever God they're talking to at that point in time. And sometimes you get to know them well enough that they'll let you know, okay, I'm struggling with this. Like with the Hindu people, it's whatever statues on their dashboard. That's the one that they're seeking that. And so you can go, well, hey, tell me, what is that? And then they'll tell you. They're not ashamed of that, by the way. And they will just say, well, I'm seeking this, multiple children, wealth, or whatever it is. And so that way you can just begin to start the conversation. But like I said, some countries, it was illegal to even have the conversations. You just let your light shine. And you just tell them, well, I'm sorry about that, but I'll pray for you as soon as I get on the plane, or something like that. But you just got to make sure you get out of there alive. But the biggest thing is God wants to show out, and so because He loves them and He wants them saved, and so no matter what they're worshiping, He still wants them saved. So it's really finding that area, and He loves. Once you start praying to Him about the issues that they're having, you giving Him free reign to just do the magnificent.
Just send the right person to them.
Send the right person to them.
And usually they do better with their own nationality. There's a Christian there somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a Christian there somewhere where they can talk to them.
Yeah.
Maybe they can relate to
Lord,
I send the laborers to these people. Those that open their eyes of their understanding, that they'll be enlightened to the truth, and they'll seek you with all their heart, soul, and mind.
We met a pastor yesterday who just landed here from Pakistan.
Oh, okay.
And he raised $4,800 to basically release a family from slavery. Pakistan still has slavery and indentured servitude.
They all do pretty
it
much.
Goes down to the third generation. So they paid $4,800 to get this family out of slavery, move them 30 minutes away from the brick factory that they were living and working in. 3 generations of that family, and we're able to basically set them up with groceries for 6 months, and then also get them a rickshaw, so they have a way of starting a small business and supporting and kind of they have something new to do and sustain themselves beyond the 6 months. That was convicting to me personally, because I always on my travels I see things and then I'm just like, what can I do about this slum that I'm going on a run through in the Philippines right now? What can I do as an individual? Is how much of it starts with real, kind of roll up your sleeves ministry, where you're like, you can't witness to someone who's in slavery, or you could, but if you don't do something about the root issue first, then do you even have a chance to witness to them? Do you have to take a step in the direction of making their lives better before you have that opportunity? I'd be curious of your thoughts.
Well, I mean, a lot of it starts with, some of you just have to do a re-education, like that gentleman did with that family. I mean, you got to get them into a business somewhere to where they can actually make money on their own. Otherwise, you're just going to be repeating
Same cycle
all over again. And so we see that all the time here in the U.S. with people that come over the border. They're repeating the same cycle all over again. And so you have to really start with that. Are you willing to really learn how to do things and start there? From there, once you develop a personal relationship with people, now you've got inroads into them to talk about, well, you have a different Lord and Savior, so let me show you about mine. And so now you've got a relationship. And that's a big part of it, just being willing to build relationships with people that you have nothing in common with. But just being sit there to share with them, and you'll find that they're much more open to you because they know you, and so they trust you at that point.
Especially if you've given to them. Given to them like people give water wells. Whole communities now have fresh, clean water.
$4,800 in the grand scheme of things to buy somebody's life
I mean,
is
it
nothing.
opens their eyes.
Yeah.
These people care about us. And then when they know that you care about them, then they'll want to know, well, what do you know? You know, and then it's more easy.
Why do you care?
It's easier
Yeah.
to share the gospel with them then. And a lot of them are just coming to the Lord in droves.
I love it.
You
I
know,
love it. That's an amazing
because
story.
what I'm doing isn't working, so hey.
Well, yeah, this is awesome. Really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing a little
Sure.
bit of your heart and your inspiration of writing the book and what it's all about. I'll be excited to read it and check it
Yeah.
out myself, because I think it's definitely applicable to especially businessmen and travel,
Yeah.
and like how do you leverage that blessing and start being a little bit more intentional about the places that God's sending you in the world. I think that's something that I'm going to take and learn and try and spend some time meditating on in my own life. So thank you for that,
Thank you.
leading the example and putting your stories down in books so others can learn from it. If folks want to buy the book, connect with you guys directly, learn more, where would you like to send folks?
The Amazon, it's on Amazon as well as Barnes and Noble and other bookstores, and so that's pretty much it at this point. We've got it in Spanish version as well as
Nice.
audiobook. So
Amazing.
so far working on the rest of the language.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
Appreciate
you so
it.
much. Appreciate you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.